Good morning, Lina. How are you doing?
Hello, Vincent. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Excellent. I can't complain. So, Lina, it's been a long time that we've last spoke. You're joining us today to have just a short discussion on how you came into the fruit industry, what it is you're doing at the moment, and just some of your views on how you view the industry and opportunities. So just for anyone who's wondering, Lina is the founder of Recoupex. So it's quite an interesting business, but we will get into that in a moment. Yeah. So, Lina, how did you find yourself into the fresh produce industry?
That's an amazing question. And to answer it, I need to go back 13 years ago when I started my journey in shipping. So I started as legal counsel at MSC, New York. And that is exactly where I witnessed firsthand how many fruit is damaged in transit. So my primary job was obviously to reject these claims on behalf of a carrier, not to pay exporters, importers, anything. But then later working in Geneva office for the same shipping line, I witnessed that not only United States importers, but also importers globally, importers, exporters, growers as well, suffer from transit losses. And I witnessed as well firsthand how difficult it is to recover these cargo claims. So, and I wanted to change the realities. So that's why I founded Recoupex. And my journey with fruit industry continues.
Oh, good. So when was it that you actually founded Recoupex?
Recoupex was founded in 2019.
2019. So it's you're on your fifth year anniversary.
Yes.
Right. And from when you founded Recoupex to today, how much has your view of the fresh fruit industry changed? Because previously, from what I understand, you were really sitting in a legal role representing the shipper, and now I guess you've seen a lot more firsthand how the exports and the farms operate. So how's it shifted your view, if anything?
Yes, of course. Industry changes itself with digitalization, with exporters, growers being more savvy of loss prevention. But I have a few highlights. So first of all, when I started in industry, most of shippers were very fearful to submit cargo claims when fruit was damaged in transit.
Yes.
So they were always blamed that it's always growers' fault or exporters' fault. And they believed it was true. So they absorbed almost all losses. But what we see, the beautiful shift happening in industry, that those exporters upskill themselves on loss prevention strategies, on stuffing cargo, on pre-cooling cargo, and then they pursue vehemently cargo claims recoveries from shipping lines when cargo is damaged due to shipping lines' fault. So this is really the beautiful shift when we see on a day-to-day basis how shippers started to defend themselves.
Interesting. And when I think about your general business, so you're representing primarily the exporter, and I would imagine that the way the industry works, I view, is the larger companies generally have a greater chance of taking a claim against the shipping line, or does a small company also stand a chance?
Look, this is a
what bargaining power do you have?
Yes, right? Of course. Look, this is a common industry misbelief that size really matter. And I know there are a lot of gossips around this and maybe some even success stories. But the reality is that we witness at Recoupex, that's also biggest accounts in fruit industry, biggest exporters, they suffer, as well as small individual 2 containers per week shipping exporters. And that's why I always say, as long as you have evidence to prove that cargo was damaged, your fruit was damaged during transit, you always stand a chance, regardless of company size, regardless of geographical location, where exporter is based, or where cargo is going, or even who the shipping line is.
Yes, yes. No, very interesting. And I'm trying to think, how is it that you work with your clients? My understanding is with your model, it's very attractive. In essence, you take up a claim, you'll take the claim forward to the shipping line on behalf of the exporter, and if the claim does not get settled in their favor, then it's no cost to the export. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Think of McDonald's for cargo claims. So any exporter from any country have the same requirements to submit claim. And these are documents very straightforward, everybody has. So when there is demand or when cargo is damaged, they come to Recoupex, they submit claim online or via email. We take care of their claim recovery. Lawyers work on their case to wrestle with shipping lines, legal departments. It can take 1 day, it can take 6 months to settle a case. We never charge exporter these legal fees, and only if claim is recovered, we charge success fee. So this is an attractive model for exporters because they don't need to incur any cost upfront.
Yeah.
It's also benefit for them because we come from shipping industry, all the team, and we can add value to their loss prevention operations. We can guide them on the processes, so they have less claims, fewer claims also in the future.
No, it's interesting. I mean, when I listen to that model, it sounds incredibly attractive for growers and exporters for sure. And I think for your side, obviously, you will have to say no to some claims that without a shadow of a doubt, the export is 100% to blame, I guess.
Correct. When I first started, I wanted to help everybody, and I still have the same drive. So we accept for recovery also difficult claims. And we do miracles time from time in recoveries as well on very difficult cases. But now once we have exporters' attention and we receive new claims on a daily basis, obviously we have to be cautious. And we run very quick checks when we receive claim. So first of all, is claim time barred or not? Right? If it is not time barred and we can still take legal action, we go to the second check. What are the merits of a claim? So was it reefer malfunction? Was it off power? Was it excessive delay as a cause of the damage? And do we have damaged cargo evidence, pictures or survey reports? If we have all of this, or exporter can provide within a few days, then we accept these claims for recovery. Otherwise, obviously, unrecoverable, very difficult cases, we give clarity to exporters that this claim is unsuccessful. And working with us or approaching us, exporters have clarity very fast. Our promise is to the same day we send legal notice to shipping line with your claim when we receive it from you.
Okay.
So
very prompt, straight away.
Yes, straight away. And we keep this promise during all 5 years, and it's really appealing and paid off to be as proactive.
So in the past, you and I have spoke about the different shipping lines and how generally people feel some shipping lines will be more favorable than others. From your experience, from memory, most shipping lines really treat things the same, or is there
No.
sometimes favorites?
No.
I'm not going to be promoting any shipping line.
No, me neither, because we proudly can say that we go against all shipping lines in the world. The biggest ones that we see on Alpha Liner, but also the smaller one for recovery. And they pay genuine claims. But interestingly enough, not every shipping line treat claims recovery or claims payout as a customer service. Some shipping lines, such as Hapag-Lloyd, Maersk, they really embed claim handling experience in their customer service experience. That's why entire claim process is more friendly, and they pay genuine claims. They understand that exporter was not at fault for a cargo damage much faster. And amicable resolutions obviously come faster from those shipping lines. In the long term, I genuinely believe that these shipping lines who take care of exporters in their bad days, they will be able to retain loyal exporters as their shippers of reefer cargo. But obviously, there are shipping lines who still believe that not paying claims is a huge saving for them, which is true, but it is a short-term thinking. And what we see happening in industry, that you cannot threaten anymore shipper, that I blacklist you, or kept promising that you will settle and eventually you drive claim into time bar, or belittle shipper when they are submitting claim to you for recovery. I genuinely believe that this will have to change, because the drive is coming from the shippers for a quality claim handling service. They paid for freight. They have legal expectations to have their cargo delivered in sound condition.
Yes. No, it's pretty interesting. And with you saying that you believe for the long term, it's more valuable to take that approach. For me, sitting not in the shipping industry, it sounds attractive to me, because when one considers dry versus reefer cargo, I think dry still dominates. But the thing about reefer cargo is it's a seasonal continued flow, minus any trade restrictions which arise. But it's a continuous flow of fresh produce, be it fruits and vegetables, or seafood, meats. So I think to maintain that relationship is perhaps more important.
Obviously, when you see freight rates, for example, fresh produce, freight rates for fresh produce are very often the highest. And this is a huge revenue for shipping lines. And of course, a huge investment from the exporter side. For carriers is a big chunk of profit to maintain these clients.
Fair enough. And another thing that's cropped up in recent weeks, I've been speaking to some partners in the Middle East, and they tell me that there's many shipping lines, they mentioned some in particular, which are kind of holding up making any payments on claims. And I'm not too sure from your perspective, do you see a different payout rate in different regions because of just how the business is done? So, for example, containers which are legitimately issues in the Middle East versus containers which are legitimately issues in the US or Europe. Do you see a difference in how those are approached by the shipping line in terms of having suitable surveyors?
It's Very interesting question. And honestly, I never thought in depth about this. And the reason for this is that cargo claims are handled usually by claims offices for some shipping lines, right? For some shipping lines, of course, we say it's handled regionally, but actually regionally, shipping lines teams, they do not have authority to pay out these claims. So it means they are still handled in head offices and paid with a blessing from head offices. So we do not really see the difference in settlement if claim is brought in Middle East or in United States. What is more interesting, it is true that more claims arise in Middle East than in United States. And the reason for this is that shipping lines, not all of them, but some of them, they deploy just lower quality containers to some destinations.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, there are, port operations not as smooth, right? But those are situations outside of exporter's control. So if cargo is damaged, exporter still has a genuine claim.
I'm from my side, I'm sitting trying to imagine this because I'm imagining that the fruit, all the containers are going, let's say the containers are going to South Africa.
Yes.
And they've got the terminal, they've got thousands of containers. I feel like that containers would be fair across Europe, Middle East, China, India, but could be the case. Could be the case.
Look, it's really in a fruit export business, it's really on a case-by-case basis. Even in South Africa, we see very sophisticated exports. But these exports are, obviously bound most of the time to Europe or United States. It's also true that it goes to Middle East, but then longer transit times can affect cargo quality. But overall, geographical location does not really affect cargo claim itself, where shipper should not claim, because as long as a shipper loaded cargo in good condition and they have evidence to prove this, it does not matter if cargo goes to Jebel Ali or to New York. As long as it is damaged in transit, they have a case for recovery.
Yes, no, 100%. I completely agree with you on that. And I'm thinking, just taking a step back and looking at the industry again. Large exporters, I assume, will have their own in-house shipping person, logistics department, who will perhaps approach a claim. Smaller companies, I would imagine, would definitely find, or medium-sized companies, would definitely find use to have, in essence, a team to represent them. Do you also work with lots of larger companies that they see, actually, look, I do have a logistics department, I do have a claims department, but I would like to have an industry know-how lawyer in the mix?
That's true. When I founded Recoupex, our target clients were small, medium-sized exporters. But when we speak about medium-sized exporter in India is 100,000 reefers. So it's not as small as we Europeans consider middle-sized export company.
Yes.
And we work with them the first year and initially because the main claim handler was managing director. And it's still the case. They don't have legal teams, and they have people from logistics who have plenty other assignments. in addition to handling recovery from shipping lines. So they were really in need of Recoupex legal services to communicate with shipping lines, to know what documents to collect and to submit. And that's how we started. Eventually, our model attracted attention to big exporters as well, who have legal counsels, as you mentioned, in-house. But those legal counsels, again, they do corporate law, they do labor law, they do acquisitions, in addition to cargo claims. So rarely we see, even at the big companies, biggest names we see in the industry, that they have cargo claims handling team. And this is a very niche legal skills and knowledge that most of them don't possess in-house.
Yes.
And they also understand that when legal counsel, in-house legal counsel sends a notice to shipping line, it does not hold the same power, because it cannot enforce a claim to be paid, as opposed to sending legal notice by external lawyers, such as Recoupex, where we can go above and beyond to settlement.
No, it's interesting. So in essence, for let's say medium-sized companies, and I find it so difficult to say medium-sized because everything's relative. You're saying, well, they're medium compared to Chiquita, but they're actually massive. It's very good volumes, and there's a lot of cash flow running through these businesses. So it's beneficial for medium-sized exporters because, in essence, you allow them a specialized service. You allow them to outsource and specialize that service to improve their claim recovery. And it's also just as valuable for larger companies because not only is it specialized, but on top of that, you have the ability to enforce. It's not an email coming from a client. It doesn't go to client relations. It goes to the legal department.
Correct, to claims department, and that's exactly where claims are being negotiated and settled. So not by sales team, not at the exhibitions, as some exporters believe, not by local agents. It's really settled by claims departments, and they have authority to pay these claims. You know, I would like to stack to your comment about middle size exporters. As demand for fruit grows, a lot of small exporters also evolve through years. They find new fruits, they find new markets, and their business size grow as well. So that's why we as Recoupex, we also cater the market of small exporters, because we witness throughout the year that, you know, exporters starting with onion exports only, now is exporting all fruits out of India, and they are active in different verticals and targeting different geographical locations. So we should not assume that small companies remain small forever.
I completely agree. I completely agree. And when you're looking at how you are placed 5 years in, you've obviously developed a good relationship with many exporters. How do you view the market now? How do you view the landscape in terms of competition? How do you view your service? How do you see it evolving in the coming years? Are you really focused on just really keeping it what it is and delivering as many claim returns as possible? Or do you have some other ideas bubbling?
We always have ideas and projects going on, but initially where we religiously believe is that we communicate very clearly on our value proposition. And this has never changed. So Recoupex, at its core, we recover cargo claims for exporters. Most of our clients, they know and they are following us on social media, as well as reading our educational newsletters or content. They know and they believe that Recoupex is expert only in this. And that is why I go back to McDonald's, right? Regardless you like McDonald's or you don't like it, it's cheap or it's expensive food, you always know what you will get. We keep our promise to our clients on claim submission, on claims recovery, on communication with them, and on really supporting them. I believe that when our clients are successful and wealthy, that's also when we grow and we see coming referrals without asking. Our priority and goal is to stick to the promises we made. We obviously target and we are more active in growing countries, fruit growing countries.
Mm-hmm.
Such as South America, South Africa, India, Central America, where exporters ship volume of fruits. They face damages. They most of the time do not have cargo insurance, or insurance don't pay their claims. And that's where Recoupex can really add value in recovering money for them. We will maintain this target as well. And lastly, very important, with new projects, we try to not to go too wild or too complicated. So our clients will have to spend more time to understand or implement this new project. Either it is survey reports or expert reports on cargo condition. We try to make it extremely simple.
Yes.
And because they are already busy in their work, they don't want to be overwhelmed with legalities. They don't care about fancy dashboards. So we know very well our clients. And when we have team meetings, I say, okay, our client is Don Rafael. And we go like, how old is Don Rafael, from which country, what quality. So everybody knows exactly whom we are serving. And this helps enormously to personalize the service.
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair. I think to really just focus on what the core is, that it's running smoothly, it's an excellent service, and really not to steer off away from where the core is and where the real service comes from.
Now with AI, we follow all industry trends in fresh produce business, from AI to all gadgets that you can stuff in your container to monitor temperature and so on, or to increase airflow. We are aware and we follow everything. But it is very important not to be distracted from your core service, as you mentioned.
Yeah, but just with you mentioning that, AI obviously has to be in every conversation. Obviously, our company also follows AI and uses it where it can. It has assisted us in a few regards, but for the core of the business, it actually has not. That still has to be done in one's head, and one has to use their expertise. I'm gonna guess it's 10 times more relevant in your field. You can't just throw in a PDF and expect it to give you the answer, I suppose.
That's so true. It's interesting story with the AI. 5 years ago, everybody expected in our industry that AI will replace forklift drivers, truck drivers, and low-end workers, or manual workers, right? But what happened today we witness that actually AI is coming to offices much more, and forklift drivers are still needed very much. And in terms of drafting or providing advice, cargo claims, in particular in fresh produce business, is very niche area. And when you work, even if you train AI, the outcome you get, it's still very poetical, right? And that's why it cannot be used in the meaningful conversation with shipping lines yet, maybe yet. And obviously, shipping lines, they understand as well. If they start receiving AI-generated documents, nobody force them to settle claims because it's just AI. It cannot do anything.
Yes.
So that's where we as lawyers keep our angle to be able to enforce our words legally.
Yes, I completely agree. A story just comes to mind. I sent an email to an industry colleague, and I got a reply, and it seemed just too perfect and detailed. I was like, I think this is an AI reply. And I knew it was an AI reply because it went ahead with my suggestions in the most straightforward fashion, or roundabout fashion. I said, he wouldn't say this. He wouldn't go ahead with it straight away. He'd need time to decide. So needless to say, a few weeks later, it came out. I was like, yeah, no, it was an automatic reply, and yeah, it shouldn't have went out because we got to discuss this a bit more.
It's really, really negative side when we do not check. We had a marketing person also generating content ideas with AI, and it comes still with the wording that nobody in export uses, such as a wonderful maritime adventure of bountiful fruits. We don't use it. When we speak with exporters, none of these words we use or come up. So
Yeah.
we have our goal to remain really reachable and personal. AI cannot allow us to do this, to bounce ideas, make jokes, of course, no problem. Keep up with times. We follow technology updates, but in terms of using business, it's limited.
I completely agree. Completely agree. Okay, I think we went through quite nicely Recoupex, generally how it's structured. I think the service, again, I do like the business model in general, and I think it's very attractive for exporters. So is there anything that you would like to share to exporters or growers or importers or shipping lines? Perhaps be careful, shipping lines.
To shipping lines, we already convey our messages on a daily basis, many times a day. But if exporters are listening to our conversation, I would like to draw your attention. Make sure that you carry on loss prevention actions before you load cargo and container. Pre-cooling, harvesting documents, take pictures how cargo looks like before loading into the container, when you load in the container. Make sure that you have the same evidence when cargo arrives damaged at the destination. Cargo condition, extent of loss, and if you still pursue claims individually or yourself against shipping lines, follow up properly. It's not sufficient just to send documents to carriers expecting them to pay your claim. No, they have a good strategies to push claims into time bar, to reject your claim for no reason. So just pay attention. If you need any help, please reach out to Recoupex. We are always here to support exporters. So this is a message, Vincent, that I wanted to share with our audience.
No, I think it's great. Great message. Straight. It's fair. It's completely fair. So, Lina, thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful day further. I think from my understanding, you're hopping up to a meeting upstairs now, yes?
Yes, Vincent, thank you so much for opportunity. I truly admire all the work you do with True Data Kings and wish you all the very best. It was a pleasure to connect with you today.
Thank you, Lina. Ciao.
Bye-bye.